on to our next conversion lab. Um, because of the number of clients that I see and the number of funnels I review, oops, hang on a second. We've got some comments here. Let's see. Oh, cool. Awesome. Hey, Jason. Cool. Lovely to have you here. All right. So I do come across issues where they don't necessarily get talked about. And so this is one that I have seen in a lot of the consulting type work that I've done. Uh, I'm closing off another 3 or 4 consulting projects, and that's it. 2024, I won't be doing much on the consulting side at all, actually, except for these few calls like this. Basically, it's just going to be growing of LeadsHook. And I've learned enough about what people struggle with and all that sort of stuff. So it's more building of the product side of things. But leaving that aside, this is actually quite common, including for people who are doing 10 mil, even up to 15 mil a year. I've seen these sort of bottlenecks turn up all the time. Now, generally, obviously, if you're just starting out and not making much, then you don't worry about this because obviously, like, hey, let's not, at least let me get a campaign up and running first before I worry about this. But I think that sometimes can lead you astray because if you look at the online world, you need to have technical competence, you need to have marketing competence, you need to have sales, your conversions, your tracking, and there's about 7, 8 different skills that you need to have mastered to really play this game well at scale. And unfortunately, it's going to be really difficult to find someone who, or it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of energy for yourself to build an 80%, 90% capability in each one of those skills. And the reason why it's so hard is because none of those skills really intersect. Just because I'm great at design does not make me great at copy. And if I'm great at copy, it does not make me great at tracking. And just because I've worked out the tracking part does not necessarily make me a technical genius. So they're not, and then that's not including all the soft stuff, such as, the finance, which is super important, and then managing of teams and all that stuff. So we become quite ineffective fairly quickly beyond a certain stage. For example, you may be able to knock out a small funnel that makes you some amount of money, and then as soon as you go, listen, I want to 5x this now, and everything just collapses. And that's been a common recurring theme that I have run into. I didn't realize there was a problem actually, because I come from a big business into small business rather than floating around. And I ran like big business at the exec level rather than being like a middle level manager. So it never occurred to me that this actually could be a problem in small business, but it is. I was working with someone say about 3 months ago now. We worked for about 2 months together. Uh, just a 20-year-old real go-getter realized, it'd be good if we worked with someone. So he reached out to me and he said, hey, listen, could you help me scale my business? And so we did an audit. We realized all sorts of inefficiencies existed in how he was currently working. He came from a media bank background, so obviously didn't know how to make funnels, didn't know tracking, didn't like a lot of things were given to him on a silver platter. And he figured that, as from a media buyer to funnel builder is going to be a very easy transition, but it wasn't because there's so many gaps in the skills and capability. When you're sitting in a big machine, obviously things work because somebody else is doing some other part of it. And when you have to do everything yourself, you realize very quickly you suck at most of the things you have to get done. And that's with everybody. Like, that includes me and everybody that I know. That's why you build teams around you. So Goha, who posted this, he sent an email out to say like kind of like what his priorities are for 2024. He's got a fairly large list of affiliate marketers. He's big in the CPA marketing world. And he said, so I placed an ad in online jobs.ph back in September, 3 months ago, for an advanced graphic designer. I received 87 resumes, portfolios in less than 24 hours, 48 hours. So have I hired? No, I haven't. It's overwhelming to go through 87 candidates and you keep pushing it off, which is not good. But it's an overwhelm and I think this is quite, now your overwhelm may not be, or most people may not be in recruitment. It could be in some other aspect of what you do. And so you say, well, it's pretty easy, right? Go hire someone on Upwork, and easier said than done. And then what, right? So there's a lot of missing pieces in just go hire someone on Upwork. I covered that in the Finance SOS course. We went through this whole module. I think Zivko was in the course, and I believe Frank was there too, where we looked at how to do this at scale. So what I wanted to show you today is since you're using decision trees, you can also do that if you are, or if you're not. You can also use it for recruitment. And I'll share with you how to do that on the recruitment side of things. So let's go ahead and So there's one that we did recently. So we built one for this is the one that I shared in the for how to find an accountant. This is the one that we actually used recently for. We've got a few accounts. This is the one that the dev team uses for a year two developer. The account manager, our invoicing management system is built on this PHP platform. And this is what we ended up creating. Now, the questions largely came from working with the team, but also you can just ask ChatGPT to create the questions for you and give you the scores around the questions. And you can just build your entire thing here. To me, the most important part was, and this has been, maybe I've hired well over 1,000 people now through online, forums, job forums and things like that. And what you uncover is that there's a lot of bait and switch that goes on you. For example, someone will sign up, yeah, I wanna work for you, and then they'll very soon tell you, listen, hey, can you just pay me a big number in invoice, and then I'll manage the hours on my side rather than using a time tracker, for example. Sometimes they don't want to verify their details because obviously they're not going to do the work. And so we included that. So what we did was we realized after having hired so many people that these are the few things you want to kick people out on. So we did. So if you say, for example, if you're an agency with lots of developers, that's someone we're not interested for this role. We want them to be in-house so we can train them up on how we do things. We immediately take them down here and say, see you later. Basically, thanks for your time. We will not proceed with you further. And so what happens is when you're doing it at this level, you can have 144 applicants, but only 14 drop to the bottom that you ever going to have to deal with. But it actually is the numbers even less because what we've got a scoring custom field. Hopefully, I've added one on this question here. So there you go. We were scoring them on different skill sets, and we had a number field where we tracking their scores. So at the end of it, we can see where they're scoring high and an overall score of who scored what. We download the data, we sort by top to bottom, highest score to lowest score, and we only look at the top three. And we discard everybody else, basically. Now, the other thing you do, and this is going beyond just conversions here, what you want to do is give all three the job and have an auditioning plan. So your phase one, and this can apply whether it's a copywriter, media buyer, developer, accountant, you name it. Every function has the same principle. You essentially give them task one, which takes the least amount of time and at least shows that they can turn up to do the job. For example, in our case, we gave this person a small app to develop. It was going to take an hour or so, come back to us with how are you going to structure the app, right? So it's just going to be a small video. That's your auditioning one. It's almost like you're making the ballerina dance for your ballet, and you're making them audition. And the reason why we take three people is because some people may have answered the right questions. Some people may have had a friend next to them who knew all this stuff and got the answers right. But then now it's time for them to do the work. We need them to perform. So we do that. And you're going to find like one or two don't even turn up. So you only deal with two going forward. Then you give the next task and next task and next task. So for example, the LeadsHook customer success team, we've got a 14-step process. But by the time you've done all 14 steps, you're ready to answer tickets from users, basically, right? And so similarly, on the dev side, we've got anywhere from 6 to 8 steps, depending on the type of dev role we're getting. On the marketing side, in fact, what I had done to find our own internal copywriter is I had given an old LeadsHook page, which I knew sucked. It was a landing page or a homepage, I should say. And I asked him to critique that homepage. So part of the application was, here's the page, critique this page, read over it. It was only like 2 pages long, so it's not a big time commitment. Make me a 2-minute video or 3-minute video telling me what are the top 3 things about this page that suck, and tell me the top 3 things about this page that you like. And that was the application. So we found that of the 150 people or whatever that wanted to be a copywriter for us, we got only 7 applications. Perfect. And I only got to deal with 7 people, not 150. Right. So hope that sort of makes sense as to how you can really use the DT and the scoring part of the DT here to really only deal with 2 or 3 people and not the issue that Goa faced, which was to deal with 87 people, and that would be overwhelming. So all we do, no matter where we hire, we just send them the link to this, and we send them the link to this, and we say, "Here you go, go through this, and we'll get back to you in a day or two." And normally, what happens is there's only 3 or 4 people we can get back to. We send 10 emails to those people that we've rejected, and we move on with the top three or the answers that we like. If we don't like the answers, we just rerun the ad. One thing I found about all the freelancing sites is when you rerun the ad, it just gets you this totally different group of people. A bit like I guess running a Facebook ad. When you rerun the ad, the performances can be different. So something very similar is happening here as well. So if you're not happy with the first batch, run it again. Follow the process, follow the system, and recruitment becomes fairly simple. Of course, there's a few steps after this. You want to have an onboarding plan in place, a bit about the business, how regularly you're going to have meetings with them, on and on and on. All right. So, but that's okay. That's beyond the scope of what I wanted to share today as far as the conversion lab is concerned. And that covers you could say a conversion solution to or an application of a conversion solution to a something that is not quite common, which is how do you hire at scale without overwhelming yourself and pulling your hair out, trying to deal with hundreds of people who are applying. One thing I have noticed recently is that when we put a job ad now, we get like many applicants, actually almost 150 to 200 applicants these days, which is a very, very big number to deal with, individually go read. And just best to just drive them to something like this, and it already weeds out everybody for you. Plus, with the scoring, you talk to the top three. Right, so that kind of covers this week's the tip of the week. There you go, the scoring decision tree. I've just shown that. Happy to move on to generic Q&A, but if there's any questions about this or recruiting or this sort of a scoring kind of a setup, please let me know. I guess the one thing I will say is that when you set up a number custom field, if you use the number over and over and over again, LeadsHook keeps a cumulative total. So you don't have to go create like 10 fields and do a summation. You can just use the same field over and over and over again. Based on how people answer the questions, LeadsHook will keep a running total. At the end, you get an aggregate score, and then you can just download the leads, sort by top to bottom or highest to lowest, and your top three will pop out right to the top. Now, that same skill set you can use for lead scoring as well, right? So that's the application on the more generic market lead gen side. All right, any questions on this before we move to a generic Q&A?
Are you doing this regularly?
All the time. This is part of our SOP. We don't hire without this anymore. Because once you've built this is an asset that can use over and over and over again. Let's say tomorrow I want to hire another Yi developer. I just put the post onto, we recycle the ad as well on Upwork or whatever it is, and then get everybody to go through this process again, and we just rinse and repeat. So we've got one for customer service, we've got one for marketing, we got one for finance, we got one for PHP developer, we've got for full stack developer. We've recently built one for machine learning stuff as well. So every function, every job function that we have created one of these, and we run everybody through this. It's a massive time saver. I don't have time to read 150 resumes. Plus, the worst part is that they'll vomit on you. You say, hey, listen, can you just reply and let me know whether you know how to do this? And they'll give you 500 websites they've worked on. It's like, come on, man. Like, I don't have 150 applicants with 50 links in each. I mean, you'll be checking them out till next Christmas. So yeah, so not interested. And in fact, those we discard straight away. Anyone who does not answer the question. So normally in the ad, in the last line, I'll put a PS, and the PS will say, please do not reply with all the wonderful things you can do. Only answer the question, which is usually going to be like a 3-4 line thing only. And that's it. So if anyone who just copies and pastes this, just sort of like this big list of things all the wonderful things they've done, it shows they haven't read the ad. Since they haven't read the ad, they clearly, are probably not going to be a good fit for you anyway. So we just discard that person straight away.
Yeah, got it. Are you going to do these conversion labs regularly with different topics or not?
Yeah, correct. Every fortnight, I might move it every weekly. So hopefully, if you guys keep turning up, then I'll keep doing them because
okay,
there's I solve hundreds of problems every year. So there's, a lot of stuff sitting in my head. And unfortunately, apart from courses and stuff, which are quite time intensive, there's really no other way to share that. There's only so many articles I can write. So I find this interactive
Yeah,
approach works really well for me. And maybe you guys can add more context around a
yeah,
specific problem that I raised. So this one was quite topical. I also posted in the LeadsHook group about it. So I figured I'd bring it up. But usually I stick to more mainstream marketing slash lead gen slash sales stuff, but happy
great.
to deviate where I can see an application that is a problem that I see that if solved could really make your life a little bit simple, even if it's not directly related to how to write a better ad or how to,
Yeah,
create a better or any of that sort of stuff. I mean, I guess you could say this is a funnel, except it's a funnel to recruit people rather than a funnel to recruit to get clients or to get leads.
I've got a generic question. Am I allowed to answer it? Ask it now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, go for it. That's it. We're open
Okay.
Q&A now. I'll stop sharing. Feel free to ask whatever you want, and let's go down whatever rabbit hole you need me to.
And others will have questions too, and I will learn from your answers to their questions, I'm sure. What I'd like to
Done.
do is put a decision tree on
Yep.
the website of many tennis coaches
Yep.
so that I can build for them a winning business, which is what they don't have now. They will have a technique business. They won't have a how to train you to win business. So if I
Yep.
could put a decision tree on their website, which day in, day out may give leads, and then I can convert them into what I'm selling and give the coach a revenue share, obviously. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm clear on what is it that you're trying to do. So this is kind of like a franchise model where you want to help other business owners generate leads better. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Or
And
or
and
or,
for
or,
me to
or are they
convert those
sending their
leads,
leads to you and somehow you're doing something with them
correct.
on their behalf? So are
The
they your
latter.
affiliate?
Yeah, they're an
Okay,
affiliate.
cool.
But there's no
Okay, they're an
reason
affiliate.
why
Okay,
I can't train them to generate more leads and hence more affiliate remuneration.
cool. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. So there's someone inside LeadsHook that's doing something similar to this. What they're doing, and I'm gonna share my screen again. Let's here we go. All right. Um, is um, is I was sharing this screen, right? I wasn't sharing the other one. Crap. All right. So what you want to do is create one like this, and for every affiliate, come here and just clone it. And then what you can do is you can then write the person's name. So for example, affiliate X, affiliate Y, affiliate Z, affiliate whatever, their name. And then you can give them the embed link like so. And they can actually just put them on their website. So if it's, for example, a WordPress blog or whatever, they could put it into the code and it'll show up on every page there is. And if they've got a specific landing page, they can put it right there. So what happens then is their leads come into your CRM, coded to the affiliate. And then what you do is you work the leads and then you can just pay back the commission or whatever comes out of it. So you manage the entire relationship on their behalf with an automation. You can do SMS automations, email automations, and whatever else that you want to do to sell all kinds of products on your end. So you control the entire relationship on behalf of the affiliate. All their job is to send traffic to their own page. So normally what happens in most affiliate relationships is that you'll have an affiliate who drives traffic to you.
Yeah,
And obviously there's a change of context there because obviously they can see that no, it's Nick is sending traffic to Mark. It's not Nick sending traffic to LeadsHook. So it's far more applicable or far better, I should say, to send traffic to themselves, as in to send traffic to a page in which your decision tree is sitting on their page. And then when they fill the DT out, it goes directly into your CRM. And that way, obviously with the respective labels and tags and all that stuff, so you know where that lead came from. And now then you can nurture them and do whatever else with them and sell all kinds of stuff to them. And then you can have a rev share deal that's happening on the back end, because obviously they would be entering your CRM with their specific
yeah,
details. And that's probably the preferred approach if you're going to do affiliate marketing, because it gives you 100% control on the relationship without that moving off site type of a scenario where they'll be going straight to you. Now, the one thing that you can do, and I'm not suggesting that this is going to be applicable in your space, but something very similar to this could apply, or just use it's this one here. I've shared it a few times. Is something that looks a little bit like this. So they could actually build a lander and have that loaded up onto their page or on the sidebar or whatever it is. And it goes to a page on their page that talks about this. They can email about this, get your tennis profile, get your tennis score, get your tennis whatever. Now, if you're trying to get these people to sign up to you as affiliates, then you could also do something very similar, saying how to turn your coaching business into a recurring revenue business.
Yeah.
And that would be so that pitch would go to the affiliates themselves to get them to sign up to you. And then how the affiliates send the leads to you so that they can share in the back end commissions would be to create another one that they would place for their leads or their website traffic or their whatever. So whichever one applies to you, feel free to use that. Of course, you can use both, one to sign affiliates and one to convert the affiliates to your stuff. And this could also be used for anybody else who's doing lead gen here. They could actually, just add these sort of things onto other people who've got traffic. So let's say, for example, there's someone out there with a blog. Let's say they've got a blog on personal injury, or they got a blog on solar, or they got a blog on whatever. They got, shitty AdSense ads on it, which is only going to make them, a couple of dollars per 1,000 impressions. And you come in and saying, listen, why don't you just remove all these stupid ads, put my DT on your page, or put my thing on your page, and I'll give you, I don't know, $30 a lead or whatever. And you could be getting from Facebook or Google leads for, let's say, $50 or whatever your number is. You can, so you're essentially grabbing leads of a highly relevant site, and those leads come directly to you. You just send them a commission once they go through that. So that's another way in which you can. So it prevents you from having to build SEO assets. The person who's built the SEO asset can obviously gain a lot more high quality, get higher income, I should say, based on the traffic they already gained, or at least something that's worth a test.
If and that once makes they've sense. Been through their membership or their customer base, we could train them to use social media and other devices to go and get more clients and then send the clients to us.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. So Zhivko, just interesting caveat. The tech stack of affiliates should be top notch, or else they could destroy the whole. You're talking about like fraud and stuff, fraud check and all that. Is that what you're referring to there, or just a horribly designed? Of course, you want to prove what their site looks like. You just don't want your brand sitting on any crappy site out there. So of course, appreciate that the caveat is absolutely correct. Now, as far as fraud and stuff, we've got enough fraud capability inside LeadsHook, so you can actually filter those people out. So that's the good thing, that if they were to use your decision tree on their assets, it would prevent crappy leads from coming to you to start with, because you can actually filter that out. Yeah, correct. Yeah, paid speed and stuff like that. But this is their traffic on their site, and all you're doing is you'd pay for the leads. But you're right. If they've got and there's an upsell opportunity there. There's one guy that I know. He was, I think, it was insurance agents in the US. So how the insurance agents market works is there's a whole bunch of them that are like single person insurance agents. They just don't have the budget to hire an agency that wants to charge anywhere from $5 to $10 grand a month. But they still have marketing needs. So what this guy did was he created a productized service where he gave you the website, and I believe it was a clone of a WordPress clone of some sort, or Go High Level or something. And then inside that, he would put a decision tree on all of the pages, and that would be their site. And he was charging, I believe he was charging either $700 or $1,000 a month to manage all of that for you. It would send out an email or two, but essentially maintained that for you. And that ended up being a really good win-win situation, because a one-man band can't possibly maintain all this infrastructure as well as the marketing that's required, but also at the same time can't afford to pay $5 grand a month to an agency. So he went for the bottom end, the single person insurance agent, and I believe there's thousands of them out there, and he was able to build a pretty decent business with 1,000 people paying $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad outcome considering you're not doing much. Yeah, so it ended up being a reasonably good win. I was actually quite astonished when I saw that, and I was like, "How come I didn't think of this?"
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how he ended up managing his business. Cool. Otherwise, great question, Mark. If there's anything follow up, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, anybody else, if you've got any questions around your funnels or any challenges you're facing, feel free to either type it in or unmute your mic and ask the question. Nope. Frank, Zivko, Jason, any questions? Nope. Okay. Well, just let me know if you have no questions and just post a comment saying no questions. Then I'll just open up to it. No, all good. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Awesome. All right, Mark, over back to you. If there's any other questions you have about this, feel free to ask away. Otherwise, we'll call it a night. I'm usually hang around here. No worries, Frank. Yeah, anytime, man. Happy to help. I make myself available for as long as you guys need me. But if you don't need me, then happy to call it a night.
Well, one question then, quickly.
Yes, go for it. Yep.
So going forward, and all to be launched around the Australian Open, which is the
Yep.
14th to 28th of Jan. So we have a continuity program.
Yep.
And we have 2 training products.
Yep.
Before they get into that, we have an email capture device. So I'm presuming we could do a different decision tree for the continuity program compared to the products. And once we have the email capture page in a sequence that we can devise, we'll send them different decision trees in order to take them to a different VSL for a different product.
Or what you could do is you could just make one DT, ask a variety of questions that leads them to believe that this is somehow profiling them. So, for example, I'm good with my forehand, or I'm good with my backhand, or I struggle winning consistently, or whatever those types of questions are. And based on that, you can profile which sort of products they are best suited for. So what you want to do is you want to build from the bottom up. So put your continuity program, your one-off sales, your consulting, your coaching, your whatever, all the different products at the bottom, if you want to call it that. And then above that, you want to say, well, what kind of a person buys each one of these things? And that should kind of give you an idea about the types of people that what allows you to differentiate between a buyer of product A versus buyer of product B. And that leads you to the question you should be asking in your decision tree. So you want to work back from your products to the decision tree. And then largely in most cases, that's not to say you can't have multiple DTs all over the place to do different specific things, and you can, but nothing's stopping you from just making one that is asking enough of a variety of questions whose answers tells you what this person is a good fit for. So say, for example, if I answer the question that I'm a newbie, I'm in my 20s, and I've just picked up tennis, and I want to become, I don't know, a Wimbledon kind of player. I mean, the odds of me getting there is 0, but that doesn't mean that you can't sell me a course that makes me think I can get there. So living ethics aside here.
Well, at their level, they can be. So that's true.
You could, obviously, I'm being tongue-in-cheek here. Living, ethics aside, you could profile me saying, oh, hang on a second, since you have such big goals, you really should be buying into my $50,000, rapid coaching boot camp where you get taught by 3 top 100 coaches for the next 12 months to really get you into the top 1,000 in the ACP, whatever the ranking thing is called, ranking, and therefore giving you the best chance of making it to the Wimbledon within the next 5 years or whatever, right? So silly example, but you get the idea that based on how the answers were given, you could profile me of what I'm a good fit for. So for that, I don't see the need for you to complicate. Now, that's not to say you can't have multi DT funnels and all this sort of stuff. We've got plenty of people inside Leads who do that. But if this is kind of like the first thing out of that you're launching, then just do one,
Yeah.
have a variety of questions there that allows you to profile what are they fit for. So
Yeah.
who's going to be a good fit for continuity, who's going to be a fit for your one-stop type products and
Yeah.
whatever else there is. And that would be how I would do my version one. And then get some numbers and then analyze the numbers and see if people are dropping off, who actually did buy, all that sort of stuff. And let that then teach you or lead you to whether you should build a second DT and a third DT and a fourth DT, or how should we do the funnel, all that sort of stuff. So use your first one as a way to just learn about the market, learn about whether you are profitable, learn about the economics of your business, and then use those as guideposts to see what changes you should be bringing up next. Rather than trying to,
Yeah.
so the worst thing you can do is put pressure on yourself by saying, I'm going to hit out of the park on my very first campaign or very first DT in a market in which we haven't done much in the past, or we haven't done volume like you
Yeah.
want to do in the past. Because there's a whole lot of learning that has to take place before you can get to that stage. And I'll share an example with you. So there's one guy inside LeadsHook that was doing about 200,000 leads a day. And I believe they were closing about $60 million worth of loans a day based off those leads. And so when he did that, I jumped on a call with him and I said, oh, well, this is, I've never seen someone move this kind of volume. And the reason why we learned about this person is because it showed up on one of our metrics. So we thought we were under a DDoS attack or something, where because there's so much volume coming through on a daily basis, and we hadn't seen that before. Certainly not for one DT. And so we were like, what the hell's going on here? And so I looked it up. Now, it's sure enough, legitimate traffic. It was all coming from Google and Facebook and wherever else they were buying traffic from. So I reached out to him, and when we reviewed his account, you could see that he'd been, or him and his team, I should say, were working on little tests for the last like 9 months. And it took them 9 months to dial in their funnel. And then literally within 1 month, they went from like 30 leads a day to about 200,000 leads a day. And
Wow.
that's how rapid. And so, but what actually was happening was they took the 9 months to really work out why, like, how does this work at scale? What am I missing over here? Now, I don't know too many people who are going to waste 9 months of their life trying to get this work, but I can see why. It was a $60 million a day kind of revenue stream that was coming off it, not off the leads. This was the actual loans being signed, so actually the actual transaction value, not the lead value, I should say. The value is obviously considerably less. That's the kind of business that was riding off that volume that was coming off. So this is going to show you that even someone with that kind of expertise and with that kind of capacity for scale were themselves tweaking and testing and tinkering and trying to work out how to make this thing work before they just opened up the throttle of traffic to generate that kind of volume. And I see that pattern with a lot of people. Now, some people make it look easy because they've done that tinkering and testing in a prior business, or they've done it 10 times before. So, for example, like every so often I'll have someone who signs up to LeadsHook and they get the DT live, sign up live 40 minutes or an hour from after signing up. And so when you talk to them, they're like, oh, yeah, I've used Typeform, I've used this, I've built funnels here, I've done click funnels, I've done this. And so I know Go High Level, I know marketing automations, I know this, I know that. So they're coming to LeadsHook with a really large set of skills that allows them to leverage something like LeadsHook pretty quickly. And that essentially means that someone like that person is coming in with a lot of expertise and experience, and they're able to leverage off that to make it look easy. But everybody that I know that has started who's not from the lead gen game has tried to make it in lead gen. Yeah, it's a couple of months of pain.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So we found in our first quiz, every question we had 50% drop off of people, which I presume is not normal.
No, that's not normal at all. Okay, so I'll answer the question here. So firstly, Zivko, yeah, nothing planned so far. One of the things that I'm doing in 2024 is stepping back a little bit from LeadsHook, mainly working on just the product. There's so much happening in the AI side. We've got about 4 or 5 projects going on there. So I want to see those to completion. So things on the lines of you just like ask a question and we ought to build the whole DT for you, like things like that. So that might consume a bit of time for me. If through that I uncover there's an opportunity for a course or there's things that I'm seeing a gaps in. But if there's something you have in mind, let me know. About the only thing I can think of where I could do a course in that is not being done at the moment is possibly all this AI stuff we're working on. But it's moving so fast, the obsolescence rate is going to be quite high. So that would be the kind of like the caveat there. But if there's anything that automation, okay, no, automation, that's definitely reaches into the AI side. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so I think what I'll do probably then, if that's the case, then you know what, I'll keep that in mind. Where what we do is we look at automations with a little bit of the AI stuff, because there's a lot of things you can automate using AI now, and I've been playing around with a lot with that stuff. So yeah, cool, great question. Thank you. Thanks for the nudge as well. All right, what is the ideal drop off of people who give the DT? So you mean to say yes, actually, that's in my inbox. I will get that done. Yeah. Oh, I guess between now and Christmas, it's a bit of a downtime, and I will get that done. So what happened was I used two new platforms on how to do cold prospecting at scale, and so I need to make videos about setting up the DNS and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a bunch of technical videos. I'm hoping to get that done. Between now and Christmas, I'll have that updated for you. All right, into module 4. Yeah, cool. All right. So idle drop off. I'm assuming that what you're talking about is how many people start and how many people finish. Is that what you're referring to by
Yes.
drop off?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Now it depends on the funnel. There's the DTs that I've seen that have got 50 questions that complete 60%. So what is the biggest driver of completion rates or drop-off rates is essentially, have you proposed a big enough benefit to the prospect? So let's just move back one step. You want to look at perceived value over perceived costs, right? So perceived value is, what do I get out of this whole thing? So let's say if you're working on let's pick an example, something like solar, right? Because everybody knows solar. Is the proposition big enough? Would you like to reduce your power bill by 80%? Right? And then so one of the questions I could ask is, what is your existing power bill? And you say, $1,000 a month. I say, imagine if your power bill was now only $200. And then you could ask the question like, well, what would you do with the extra $800 savings? Now, why am I asking that question? Is because I want them to future pace the benefit that they're going to get as a result of the outcome. So I'm getting them to spend the outcome now. At that point, if you ask for name, email, and phone number, it gets really, really hard for them to say no to you. So one of the ways in which you increase the completion rate is by using psychology in your decision tree to manipulate their perception of what this is. If you just say, hey, listen, how big is your house? And do you want solar? Do you want to save the environment? Yada, yada, yada. You might get a very high drop-off rate as soon as you ask them for name, email, and phone number, because you haven't established the perceived value in the mind of the prospect of the lead yet. So your job as part of the DT is not just to get information out of them, but to phrase your questions in such a way that they get the perception that, holy shit, I actually have got a lot of gain. I've got a lot to gain here through this process. And it's also partly educative as well, where they get to the name, email, and phone number nodes, or the parts of the funnel or the DT where you ask them for name, email, and phone number. And they're like, I'd be an idiot not to give them a name, email, and phone number now, because you could quantify that. So you could say, listen, as someone who is looking to save at least, let's say, for example, $1,000 a month of savings, $12,000 a year, enter your name, email, and phone number. I mean, it's really difficult when you dangle 12 grand in front of my eyes. It becomes quite difficult for me not to put my name, email, and phone number in. Right now, I'm showing you an example here. You could apply that framework to every funnel there is, or every decision tree you ever create from this point onwards. Is in what way can I move the perception of the person of what is the value that they're going to get here, or the perceived value I should get there. Now, what's the perceived cost? Let's look at that. The perceived cost is I'm giving them a name and phone number. Right now, generally speaking, they drop off is because they're like, oh, these are going to bug me. It's probably some scam, whatever. So can you bring in proof elements? Can you bring in onto the landing page and or your ad copy and or the decision tree? So you can actually use that as a way to change their perception of risk of giving you their phone number and your address and all that sort of stuff. So you're going to deal with the DTs from that perspective. Look at the ratio of perceived value divided by perceived cost. And the higher the perceived value of the perceived cost, the more irresistible the offer. So when someone says to you, irresistible offer, everyone talks about the irresistible offer, but no one actually can articulate what the hell that means. This is
Correct.
one framework that allows you to articulate that, saying, so let's say, for example, if you could show me, so let's say in the case of tennis, you might say, well, you'd actually be coached by three coaches who have themselves been top 100 players. No, but not just that, they've had a suite of 20 players who've been able to go into the ATP tour and make it into the top 100. So you are working with a process or a system that is being taught by people with a proven track record. Now, that is a lot of proof. Am I ready to give you my name, email, and phone number and answer a bunch of silly questions to get an opportunity to work with that type of a person? Absolutely. You can enhance the scarcity factor by saying these coaches are really, really hard to get. We've been able to negotiate a special deal with them, so they're finally available to Joe Blog or to Joe Public. Usually these guys are never available to ever work with someone who has desires for tennis but is not connected into the tennis world. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to work with a person like ABC, and that's once again increasing the scarcity factor. Oh, by the way, he's only available for 5 more places, and that increases the scarcity factor. So proof, urgency, scarcity, value creation in the mind of the customer, and diminishing the perceived cost of giving you their name and phone number. That largely is the winning formula for every funnel on the planet.
Cool. Understand.
All right. Hope that made sense to everybody else as well. If there's any follow-up questions, feel free to ask.
There's a question about Google Sites.
Yes, I will answer that by saying I actually don't know. I've never used Google Sites. If you can embed things into Google Sites, then I don't see a problem with that. Is the reason why you're using Google Sites? I don't
So it's
know anyone who's using lead, who does lead gen and volume that uses Google Sites.
no, so it's only just to, get the lay of the land. We obviously do use WordPress, but Google Sites is a much quicker, easier option to implement things when,
Okay.
we have to do it very quickly. But yes,
Yeah.
WordPress is the first
Yeah. Great question. I've never had anyone use Google Sites. Generally speaking, so the limiting factor is not so much LeadsHook, is whether the landing site builder you're using, such as Google Sites, whether it has got a dynamic height. So what that basically means is some page builders like Unbounce don't have dynamic height. So you gotta give the height of the biggest node as a specific height inside. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you know that, because I actually don't know. I don't know much about Google Sites at all. Okay, so clearly Zhivko knows a bit about this stuff. So
Okay.
the tracking side, yeah, the tracking side is potentially a problem for you. So perhaps maybe just to prototype and to show it to your team, and then saying, listen, are you happy with this kind of a look and feel? And then if they give you the thumbs up, then move it into WordPress. So I would only use it as a prototyping tool. But if you're using Elementor or any of the page builders inside WordPress, then I'm not really sure whether you're going to gain much in time by actually even going to Google Sites. But I'll let you make that decision if that makes sense.
Thank you.
No problem. Anytime. All right. Any other questions? No, this has been good. I hope it was valuable. And there's no more questions. We'll call it a night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. Mark, and plus, if you have any follow-up questions, please post in the LeadsHook users group. More than happy to make a video or whatever it is to help you think through the issues. Yeah, especially this
Totally.
ideation phase, it can take a while to kind of get a bit clear in your mind of what we should do. But also don't let it paralyze you. Just create the very basic version, drive a little bit of traffic. Yeah, thank you, Jason. Awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Needs a bit more advertising. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, you mean to say of the conversion lab thing? Yes. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I keep forgetting to post. But anyway, I'll make sure that I post in the next one. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Jivko. Thanks for mentioning that. I will definitely do that for the next one. In fact, I'll let Dino know now that please add a note in the LeadsHook users group as well. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great evening. Bye for now.
Cheers.